everybody, it's Mrs. Prime. Can you tell where I am? I bet you can if you look around behind me. I'm at the library. We're keeping it nice and safe for you, and it'll be ready when you can come back and play and read and come to story time. I picked out two really nice books to read to you. They're both about falling asleep, and I'm wondering if any of you have ever had a hard time falling asleep. I know I have. I think you're going to like them. This first one is called Good Night, Little Mouse. I don't know if you can tell, but the cover is so soft. Maybe you'll borrow this sometime. Ready? It was time for Little Mouse to go to bed, and after Grandpa read her a story, she wiggled down under her snuggly quilt, but no matter how she tossed and tumbled or mumbled and grumbled, she just couldn't get to sleep. "Grandpa," she called, "I'm frightened." Grandpa came straight up to Little Mouse's room to see what the matter was. "I can't go to sleep, Grandpa," said Little Mouse. "It's dark, and there are scary noises outside." "You needn't be afraid, Little Mouse," said Grandpa, giving her a cuddle. "The dark can't hurt you. You are safe and snug in bed." And with that, he went away again. But just at that moment, a gust of wind must have blown outside, for there came a loud tap, tap, tap at the window. Little Mouse jumped. "Grandpa," she called. Soon Grandpa was at the door again. "What's that tapping sound, Grandpa?" asked Little Mouse. So Grandpa took Little Mouse over to the window and showed her outside. "Why," said Little Mouse, "that tapping sound was only the wind blowing a branch against the window." And just then there was another sound. It was a loud hoot, hoot. Far away, Little Mouse looked very scared. "Don't you know what kind of bird hoots, Little Mouse?" said Grandpa. "Is it an owl?" asked Little Mouse. "Yes," said Grandpa. "Each night Mother Owl leaves her nest to fly far and wide over the countryside." Just then there was another sound. It was a bark, bark, bark. "I know that sound," cried Little Mouse. "It's a dog." Noises didn't seem scary when you knew what they were. "No, Little Mouse," said Grandpa, "that isn't a dog. Dogs sleep at night, but foxes bark just like dogs. Each night the fox leaves its den and sets off through the fields. But you are safe, Little Mouse. No foxes will come into the house." "Let's listen and see if we can hear any other noises," said Little Mouse, and Grandpa agreed. It didn't take long before they heard a loud splash from the stream in the garden. "Is that a bird?" asked Little Mouse. "Oh no, Little Mouse," said Grandpa. "Most birds sleep at night. That is an otter. Each night he leaves his den and dives into the stream for a swim." Now Little Mouse was starting to enjoy listening for night sounds, but she didn't feel tired. But she listened hard and heard a patter, patter, patter at the edge of the forest. "Are they rabbits?" she asked, giving out a big sleepy yawn. "Oh no, Little Mouse," said Grandpa. "Rabbits curl up together in their burrows at night. That is another kind of night creature, badgers. If you look hard, you can see them just at the edge of the garden." Little Mouse looked at the badgers and then went back to bed. Now that she knew what all the noises were, she didn't feel frightened anymore. "Thank you for coming back in, Grandpa," she said. Grandpa closed the window and smiled. "That's all right, Little Mouse," he said. "I don't want you to be scared. You will always be safe and sound when I'm close by." But just as Grandpa leaned over to hug Little Mouse and say good night, what do you think he saw? Why, Little Mouse was so tired she was fast asleep already, just as snug as a bug in a rug. "Good night, Little Mouse," said Grandpa. "Sleep tight." And do you know, that is exactly what Little Mouse did all night long. The end. Did you like that? I love that. I love that. I hope you're not getting too sleepy because I have one more book to read to you. It's called Bear is Not Tired. Maybe you know what bears do all winter. Do you? They sleep all winter, right? Did you know that? Ready? You're going to like this. Bear and the ducks lived together under the same roof in the same house. They were one big happy family. Sometimes Bear forgot that he wasn't a duck. He hardly noticed the difference. Then one morning there was a sharp chill in the air. The ducks didn't mind, but the cold tickled Bear's nose. It could only mean one thing: winter was coming. And that meant it was nearly time for Bear to go to sleep. He had been having so much fun he'd forgotten all about it. Ducks don't sleep through the winter. Bear knew they would carry on as usual, and he didn't want to miss out on any of the fun. He even had his winter clothes all ready. So Bear decided to stay awake. After all, he wasn't feeling the least bit sleepy. But the ducks began to notice a change in Bear. He kept falling asleep at the most inconvenient times. Bear tried to think of ways to stay awake. The ducks tried to help him, but nothing worked. Every sound was a lullaby. The rippling of the water, the hum of the washing machine, the tap, tap, tap of baby ducks' feet. Bear was so tired, nothing seemed to make sense anymore. Mama Duck said Bear couldn't fight who he was. Bears are bears, and bears are supposed to sleep in the winter. She promised him he wouldn't miss a thing. Feeling reassured, Bear finally fell into a deep sleep. The ducks carried on with their usual winter activities. They included Bear whenever they could. Even Baby Duck found a way to keep him close. You see her? Then one morning, Bear sat up and opened his eyes. It was spring, and Mama Duck had kept her promise. She even had all the photos to prove it. Look at all the pictures she took while he was asleep. I bet he was surprised to see those. Well, it was fun to read to you again, and I'm thinking about all of you, and I'm going to come back and do another few stories in a few weeks, and help out at home, and I'll see you soon, okay? Bye, everybody. Mwah.